Okay. Still playing with the controls, all new. Welcome back. Today is day 2 of Elul, second of Elul, and day 2 of this Elul broadcast stream. Hoping to do this most days throughout the month because this is as important as it gets. As important as it gets. We co-create reality. We're not just bystanders here. We are actually participants. And the more we realize that, the more we understand it, the more conscious our participation can be, and the more empowered we will be, and the more the world will change in the direction and in the pathway that most of us really desire. So today is not going to be so much informational. It's going to be more transformational. So be really good if you have something to write with. I'll just give you a moment. Broadcasting from Spot, where I do not live full-time now, but first time back here since we left right after the war began. So a lot of feelings to process at this point. Okay, so Elul is, as I said yesterday, the hinge month. It is the last month of the year, 5785 on the Torah calendar, and the preparation for the coming year. So Elul it has a very extraordinary power to assist us in doing a cheshbon nefesh, doing a self-accounting, really understanding where we're at, what it is that we didn't do, the opportunities that we missed throughout the previous year, the things that we did that we, if we had been wiser or more in control, would not have done. So basically taking that account of what happened during this past year. Where were you? Many things happened in the world. That's without a doubt. What happened in your life? What happened internally? What happened externally? What happened in your relationships? What didn't happen? Are you sitting on a dream? We're going to go deeper into that actually in a bit. Are you sitting on a dream or a desire and telling yourself it's too late, or you don't have what it takes, or it's not worth it, or maybe it's not going to work, or why should you anyway? What's the point? You're uncertain. So many things to say. So that's what we want to look at, and that's not just for right now. That is for the entire month of Elul. We want to look at what is it that didn't happen, what is it that did happen. Actually, there's a little vignette that I heard that somebody said to the Rebbe, time is money. And the Rebbe said, time is not money, time is life. Time is life. And if we do this right, we can get more life because we're moving into an era which is supernatural. That's what this birth process is about. But right now it's iffy, it's tricky, it's critical. And how you are will, to a very large degree, co-create where you're going, how you're going there, and where everyone is going, because those who are conscious co-creators have far more impact on the rest than the rest. One conscious co-creator who's connected with the divine plan, who's connected with their soul, who's working to activate the supernatural powers that all of our souls are embedded with, richly embedded with. One person doing that has far more impact than thousands not doing that. Thousands just being dragged around by the media and the economy and the energy, whatever else is going on. So that said, I want to take a moment just to connect. I don't usually do this in live streams. I do this in my classes a lot. But if you are able, just close your eyes for a moment and feel your body. So your body is a hologram. It's a sensing organism also. The soul is connected to the body through various sets of vessels and channels, but the innermost set is the nervous system. So the nervous system has many different aspects to it, but just start by sensing what's pressing up against your legs, wherever you're sitting. What kind of airflow is moving across your face? What sensations do you have as you breathe? Are you aware of your breath? Is your breath up in your chest, or is it full and down in your abdomen? Is it going to your legs? Put your attention in your feet for a moment. See what that feels like. Imagine you're sitting in your feet, looking around, feeling what your feet feel, but as if your feet have eyes and ears and senses, which in a sense they do. So just take a moment to be aware of your body. Your soul is here, what we call here, by virtue of being in the body. That's what gives it the power of free choice. That's what gives it the ability to impact reality. The soul not in the body, it can't do that much. I know we have like kind of a hero worship of souls, many of us. Oh, the soul, and souls are amazing, but it's the body that gives the soul the power to act. It's the body that gives the soul the ability to relate to God, because God is the creator, and the soul in the body is a co-creator, or could be. Well, is, but could be conscious. So Elul this month is the acronym Ani Lidodi Vidodi Li. Ani, I, Lidodi, to my beloved, am to my beloved. Vidodi, and my beloved, Li, is to me, which on the surface means that I am here to initiate. In Elul, we have the power to initiate a new relationship, a new state of being, a new level of transformation, a new circumstance, or a new set of circumstances. We have the ability and the invitation, and Elul contains the energy and the power for us to step forward and to meet God, who is waiting for us with an open, loving face and a loving attitude, smiling, laughter. This is the power of Elul. Like, it's truly a chance to change everything. There's always a chance to change everything. But sometimes the energy is far more conducive. And that's what this month is. We're only on day 2. So this acronym, Ani Lidodi Vidodi Li, begins with the word Ani, I. So it's up to me to initiate. So the question for today is, who is the I? Like, looking at yourself, who are you? So if you can close your eyes for a minute again and just look in, think about the answer to that question. Who are you? Who are you? If you want to share it in the chat, that's going to be helpful to you and other people. Okay, who are you? Actually, I'd love for you to write that down, at least for yourself. See if a few people share, it's even better. Let's see how you define yourself. If anybody has the guts to jump in. Special opportunity to interact. So are you a mother, a sister, a father, a brother, a teacher, a student? Hey, Kalish. Hey, Tammy, Edna, Sarah. Nice to see you guys. Who are you? Okay, so there are many things you could say to this question, and you could say them on different levels. So on the surface level, you are your role. You are what you're doing in life. You are a certain age. You are a certain gender. You are a certain background. You have a certain level of intelligence, a certain set of interests, certain set of skills, certain set of deficits, flaws. All of us, that's the picture of every human being. But underneath the surface, what is it that you treasure? And that speaks to who you truly are. What you truly desire, what you genuinely want for yourself, for others, for the world. Tammy's a caregiver. Okay? What do you truly desire, Tammy? Like, what do you truly desire? If you didn't have to be a caregiver, if the caregiving was either done or, I'm assuming it's hard, but if it were joyful, I am a divine being reminded of my choices. Okay, says Kalish. Edna says, I'm a multifaceted expression of Hashem, of God. Deb says, I've been feeling out of touch with who I am. Good, you're in the right place. You're very much in the right place. Eduardo, my view, God is the boss. I'm a servant of God. Yes, that's true. That's true, and that's true. And there are other things that are also true. What if God wants you to be a partner, a conscious partner, and not just a servant? Of course, we have all of these roles. We have the role of servant. We have the role of subject, if God is the king. We have the role of child, if God is the parent. And then we have the role of partner, if God puts us in this world to co-create. And he does. So yeah, we can't skip levels, but we're not limited either. So I'm just going to ask you a series of questions, and you're either going to answer them for yourself, share them in the chat, or not. So what is a core desire of yours? What is a core desire of yours? A core desire of mine is to break through the laws of nature such that I can do miracles at will. For myself, for my loved ones, for others. That's a core desire that I have. Anybody else? I have many more core desires. Step up, you guys. What's a core desire? I need that music, that game show music. Da 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 da. Nobody has a core desire? What's a core desire? To be seen. Okay, to be seen. I'm assuming for who you are. Beautiful. So what would be possible if you were seen? And I'm not just asking Kalish. I'm asking everybody. What is a core desire? Your soul want to know your purpose. People want to know their purpose. Your purpose is absolutely connected with your core desires. Absolutely. It's the reason why your soul keeps coming back into your body. Without a desire, why would it? It wouldn't. Sometimes I forget I'm here as a co-creator. My core desire is joy. Beautiful. So joy, when you have a core desire, and I want to hear from other people, when you have a core desire, if you're not answering me, at least answer yourself. This is what your soul is looking for. This is what it's vibrating to. When it finds that it's able to create, co-create, experience, share joy, or being seen, or whatever the core desires are, we'll have more than one. But when your soul experiences the ability to actually have that or co-create it, your soul comes more into your body. What happens when your soul comes more into your body? Your body is healthier. It's more alive. Where do you think it's getting its life force from? From the soul. Yesterday, I talked about how the soul can be partly in and partly out. Maybe that was, I don't remember, that was here or in class, in the gateway. But either way, I'll say it again. As an energy healer, I check a percentage of ideal markers. I call them markers. So percentage of ideal physical health, percentage of ideal choosing life. That's the one I want to talk about. Percentage of ideal immune system, metabolism. And I can do this for different organs. Anybody can who muscle tests. So one of the markers that I check is percentage of choosing life, of desire to live. And most people are not choosing life at any much more than 30 or 40% of ideal. So what does life feel like when that's the case? It feels like a lot of us feel a lot of the time. All of us probably feel a lot of the time. So one of the reasons for that is because the soul is here for a reason. It didn't come into the body, into this crazy world, which is often compared in the mystical Torah to a Bera Amikta, to a deep, dark pit. The soul didn't come in and isn't coming in just to be constricted, slowed down, cut off, except that there's something that it can do here that it can't do outside of the body. And that is to co-create. That is to reveal God inside of the body, inside of the soul itself as an intimate partner. Not as light, not just as source, but as an intimate partner. What does it mean, intimate? Intimate means really, really close. Intimate means really, really personal. Intimate means you can feel the other person, what they feel, and they can feel you. And you want to be together all the time. That's what the soul's trying to do here. So when you're operating, when any of us are operating, not out of desire, but out of overwhelm or burdens or shoulds or avoidance or fears, which is normal for exile, but needs to change now, because that's not the true you. That's the exile you. The true you is right here, right where you are, but it's covered up by this stuff. So the first thing that you can start to do to help the non-exile you, the true you, the real you, to come forward, even in whatever situation you are in, is to clear the fog and ask yourself, what is it that I truly desire? And when you identify what you truly desire, even one thing, you will know that it is a true desire, because you will feel, yes, yes, I want that. Yes. And that yes will be like body moving forward, like energy moving toward it. Not like I want to have money, which is really I don't want to be poor, which feels like this, feels constricting. So true desire will make you feel expansive. So see if you can find a true desire. If you don't feel a true desire, then start with what it is that you don't want, what it is that you really dislike, and ask yourself, if that were not present, if I could solve that, if that would just be taken away and I'd be free, then what would I want? What would I do? What would I do with freedom if I weren't a caregiver? If I was really smart? If I had a lot of joy? If I was seen and so connected to God that my choices are aligned, that I can have that confidence, or whatever else it is that you actually want. If you had that, what would that feel like? And what would be possible for you? And when you can identify that, and when you can identify that, you already know a lot more about who you are. Because in Elul, it says, Ani Lidodi Vidodi Li. I am to my beloved. I am moving toward God, extending myself, asking, presenting, bringing it all to the table, what's really going on with me, not how I'm supposed to show up, not what is allowed to say. No, that's not Elul at all. That's not you. That's not authentic. You're being invited right now into an authentic relationship with yourself and with your source, however you see those things. So what would be possible? What would you want? What's in the way? The next question is, what is in the way of a desire? You'll get more out of this, guys, if you share. If you are, go off grid and live in nature with God. Why? Why, Tammy? What's underneath? What would that feel like? Track this down. Track down that desire. Your soul is already bursting with it. It's vibrating with it. It's shining with it. That's the reason why it keeps coming back. But to the extent that you feel burdened, or you feel trapped, or you feel uninspired, or you feel confused, or whatever, that's the extent to which your soul is not being allowed to be in touch with that desire. It's not getting you to be in touch with it. The soul is like, it says the soul has a still small voice. The soul is like, please, please, listen to me, listen to me, listen to me. Please, 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 let's get this done. And when we listen, things start to move forward really beautifully. It doesn't just mean being good. I'm telling you guys, there's something very broken about, let's say, the mainstream beliefs about how we connect to God. It might have been good for a time. It might have been good until recently. I don't know. Probably. We were in a certain relationship, but it's an exile relationship. That relationship where you're in exile from yourself. The things you really think, you can't say them. The things you really want, you can't say them. The things you really feel, you're not allowed to say them, because God will be mad, because it's not okay to feel that way. That's exile. So when it says, Ani Ladodi, I am to my beloved and my beloved is to me, God will respond to you when you show up as who you are. So who you are is what you desire, and what is covering what you desire. What's covering what you desire? So that's the question next. What are you telling yourself that's not true? You guys weren't prepared for this is really a coaching call, actually. What are you telling yourself that's not true? Again, some typical things. I'm not lovable. I don't have what it takes. I'm not good enough. God wants me to suffer. I don't have any choices. Life is totally overwhelming. I'm too young, too old, too poor, too stupid. I don't have enough friends. Whatever it is, all of this matrix that we surround ourselves with, that's made up of our beliefs. What's one lie you're telling yourself? One lie. Okay, so what's one lie you're telling yourself? And there is one, I guarantee you. And what would be a deeper truth about that? I'll tell you a little story of something that happened to me quite a few years ago. I was in a seminar in New York just for the evening. It was like a personal growth seminar. And the guest speaker came. His name was Jim. And he started out by saying, introducing himself. And then he said to us, I am the top salesman of a certain line of women's dresses in the entire New York City. The top, number one. Then he said, last year I sold 10 times as many dresses as my closest competitor. Then he says to us, you know why? He leans forward. You know why? Because I got rejected 100 times as much. So when I heard that, it hit me on such a deep level because I had a lot of beliefs, like most of us do, about what it takes to succeed. Here was this top salesman. Of course he's skilled. Of course he has the talent. Of course, he's not scared. Of course, he made 100 times more appointments than the person who was second to him in success. 100 times. Maybe he was exaggerating, but certainly, what that told me was getting rejected, hearing no's. Actually, the way he said it is I got 10 times the yeses, the sales, and 100 times the rejections. Hearing no doesn't mean that you're not meant to succeed. He switched it, he flipped it. The more you're willing to hear no, the more you're meant to succeed, the more you're willing to fail. And this is a principle that is true across the board. The more you're willing to fail, the more you're willing to be uncertain, the more you're willing to try things that don't necessarily work out the way you think they should, the more you're willing to flow and evolve and lean into the transformational process, the metamorphosis process that we're all in right now. That's the call of the hour in Elul and in general now. The more you are going to start to fly. The ego, the identity, there's a lie. The identity tells all of us, if you fail, you're bad, you're wrong, you're ugly, you should not even take up space. The truth is, if you're willing to fail, you're becoming supernatural. You're separating yourself from the crowd. You're freeing yourself from the snake voice. So I'm going to, and I told you my core desire is to become supernatural and to help other people do the same. I've always wanted to live in this time. Yeah, beautiful. Hi, Julie. I'm too little. We're all too little. Yeah. Except God put a mighty soul in each of us, and that soul is not little. The part of the soul that we relate to, the part that we're conscious of, the part that we let in, yes, that may be very little. In fact, it may be very squishy. But just think about that, when the baby's ready to be born, things get squishy. When the chicken is ready to be hatched, things get squishy. When the caterpillar is ready to melt down and turn into a butterfly, things get squishy. Squishiness is not a problem. Here's another deeper truth. Squishiness is only a problem if you take it to mean something that it doesn't mean. It actually means the rising pressure inside of you and around you is here to force a shift, because we need to shift. These times are about the shift. Elul is about making the shift supernaturally supported by God, who is the king in the field, waiting for you to come to him, her, it. God is not just one gender. We refer to God as he because God is the archetypal male compared to us. The strong one, the one that provides, etc. But God is everything, including you. Okay, so again, if you identify your core desire, look for a lie, and then look for a deeper truth. I just gave you a couple examples of deeper truth, like a state shift, a true state shift. Starts with constriction, pressure, that to get more yeses, you have to be willing to get a lot more no's. And that doesn't mean you're a failure. That means you're a warrior. That means you're a success. So almost everything that constricts us in life and hides and takes offline our true power, which is vast, is a lie. But also, That's part of the process. That's part of what we're here to illuminate. We're here to transform darkness into light. So bring your whole self in prayer. And you can do it right now if you want to. You can close your eyes and just quickly connect to your source, connect to God, connect to Creator, and just ask for help with something. Ask if you're not in touch with your desire, ask for help with that. If you are in touch with it, but it feels so constricting and it feels impossible and you're in a dark place, ask for help with that. There are many things to do to shift your state. It doesn't have to take a long time. Maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow more. Okay, so the last thing I want to share with you is just a little technique that is very, very powerful. And that is the I'm pretending but really technique. If you're a student of mine, you've probably heard me talk about it before. It can be super, super enlightening. So how it works is you take your complaint about something. It doesn't have to be your biggest complaint. Take a complaint about something, someplace where you feel stuck. And you fill in the blanks. There are 2 blanks in this little formula. I'm pretending that blank, but really blank. Write it down. I'm pretending that blank, but really blank. So I'm pretending that I have no options, but really I'm terrified of uncertainty. I'm terrified that I won't succeed. I'm pretending that nobody wants to do this with me, but really I'm capable of making progress on my own and I'm just not doing it. Instead, I'm complaining. There are all kinds of options. You might have a situation, you might have, I don't even know, 10, 20, 30 different things that you could be pretending. You just play with it. I'm pretending that blank, but really blank. And here's a deep truth. It's just another one. We're miswired. We're cross-wired. We're all wired wrongly. Why is that? Every human being, except for the greatest tzaddikim, are wired wrongly. Meaning our true self, our power is cut off from us. We believe all kinds of things about ourselves, life, others, God, that are not true. And we basically, limp our way through life and then get old and then have to do it again. Why is that? That is a consequence of the fall in the Garden of Eden, the eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. When the snake Chava told Eve, if you eat from this tree, you'll be like God. It was true. It just wasn't an immediate result. Why would we be like God? Because God is everything. God knows good and evil. God is darkness and light, and beyond both. God is the ultimate creator, the ultimate transformer. So we have that ability as well, because we have the snake voice in us, because we're held through the body and our identity, and we're here to transmute and transform darkness to light. We contain all the raw material of a supernatural, co-creative, godly being. And as we face the things that oppress us, as we feel the pressure, and the pressure is increasing, at least in a general way, and we'll keep doing so. Why? Every birth process is catalyzed by pressure. Give me one place where that's not true. I haven't thought of one. Because pressure makes things move. But how you move, how you feel about the pressure, how you deal with the pressure, what you do with it, what you let it say about you and about source and about the world and about what's possible, that's in your hands. So consider that the whole world, it says in the Torah, Bishvili, every person has to say, Bishvili nivra ha'olam. The world was created for me. That's an obligation. Why? Because the world is being created for you. You live in a creation bubble that, yes, if you're sitting with people, you can maybe point to the same thing or share the same experience to a certain degree. But each one of us has our own, more than ever before, our own individual creation bubble. I mean, I can tell you that when I did summits, when I first started doing summits, my show, Quantum Healing, Consciousness, and Soul, nobody told me that summits were over for a couple of years before I stopped doing them. They were still working really well. So people were saying, it's not working for me. Nobody's signing up. I'm not selling anything. That used to be, I used to share speaker products. And for me, that wasn't the case. It doesn't matter what the economy is. It doesn't matter what the global situation is. None of that actually matters if you lean into your own creation bubble. And it starts with this, and we'll leave it with this. Ani Vidodi Li. I, whoever you truly are authentically, your deepest desires, your fears, judgments, burdens, insecurities, angers, grief, all of it, and the deepest truth about you. All levels of you are invited, not by me, are invited by the Creator, by your source, who lives inside of you as well as everywhere else, who is everything. You are invited to bring it all into a DMC, a deep, meaningful conversation that's filled with love and acceptance and transformation. Take advantage of the opportunity. Okay. I will see you hopefully tomorrow.